The owner of a horse that had escaped from its barn knew that they had to retrieve it. However, their actions in doing so were so shocking that they prompted an investigation by the police. Onlookers were stunned by what they saw. Culver Modisette is a retired advertising executive and author who resides in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. They bred Labradors and were involved in tree farming and also took care of a horse. Modisette lived a relatively peaceful life until 2012, when at the age of 86, they did something that gained them international attention. Unfortunately, Modisette gained notoriety for an unfortunate incident. Many believe that he had almost killed his horse, Annie, a beautiful purebred Arabian mare. During the spring of 2012, Annie was in heat, which can lead to changes in behavior and make horses more irritable or easily distracted. So, with hormones coursing through her body, Annie went in search of a male with whom she could mate. As a result, she ended up on a neighboring property where she promptly attempted to solicit a stallion. However, before Annie had a chance to use her charm, her owner arrived on the scene. Madison was eager to put an end to the mare's advances and to get her back home as soon as possible. And so, he came up with a plan to steer her away from the other horse. At this point, Modisette's neighbor, Helen Kelly, emerged to watch the action unfold. And she looked on in horror as the old man tied Annie to the back of his truck. But worse was to follow, as once the retiree had secured the horse to his vehicle, he then started to drive off. Fearing for the animal's welfare, Kelly pulled out a camera and began to take photographs of the episode. As the mare was dragged away, it's clear that her instincts kicked in, yes, and he tried to resist the force of the car pulling her. But then the horse seemed to stumble and fell to the ground. With Annie lying on her side, Modisette stopped driving, so as not to drag her along the track. At this point, though, Kelly grew hysterical, and she began shouting at the elderly man, imploring him to untie the horse. I started screaming to him, "Stop, you're killing the horse, cut the rope." Kelly relayed to WFSB in April 2012, and Madison didn't need telling twice, and he subsequently swiftly untied Annie from his truck. From there, Modisette was able to walk Annie back to his property, and he believed he'd done no harm to the horse.
Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story.
Some of his neighbors thought differently, however, and reported him to the Connecticut State Police, who then launched an investigation. Soon, the incident made local headlines, and Modisette that was forced to defend himself. "What else was I going to do?" he asked when questioned over his actions. "I've got to bring her down. I can't leave her up there." Moreover, Modisette added that it was just never his intention to harm Annie or cause her distress. "I was just trying to get her down in her stable for a breakfast and apples and so forth." Modisette said no malicious intent, and the author also noted that in hindsight, he shouldn't have tied Annie to his vehicle. "I regret that I put her in the back of the truck," he said. "That was a mistake. But what else was I going to do? She just about threw me across the woods when I tried to walk her down." Modisette's excuses were of little comfort to Kelly, though, who had feared that the outcome could have been much worse for Annie. "Really? He could have broken her neck," she said. "It was a sad thing to watch." Following the incident, a vet examined Annie and determined that she only suffered minor scrapes to her legs, with minimal damage done to the animal. Then State Police Lieutenant Paul Vance defended Annie's owner. Indeed, the cops said that Modisette that had simply tried to secure his unruly mare in heat in order to bring her home. And Vance wasn't the only person to come out in defense of the horse owner either. The lady that gave Annie to Modisette said that despite his mistake, he loved the horse, and she went on to suggest that people should have helped the elderly gentleman rather than taking pictures. Not everyone was so forgiving. However, the guy probably should be made to divest himself of any animals. He clearly is incapable of making good decisions about how to treat them, read one comment on Connecticut news site The Day. In the end, though, Stafford Springs, Animal Control, and Connecticut State Police decided not to file charges against Modisette. They said that the horse owner had not acted maliciously and no real harm had come to Annie. With that said, however, there's no denying that Modisette's actions were dangerous and could have severely harmed his mare. How can you control a horse in heat? Practical Horseman magazine suggests hormone therapy and herbal supplements as potential solutions. However, as with most animal issues, it is best to consult a veterinarian first. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a positive rating and sharing it with your loved ones. Thank you. We hope to see you in the next one.